Now, I don't want to take on the Mormons. By the way, I am one. How many of you have heard of the Mormon Church? Would you like to know more? Oh, excuse me. That just slips out. That's the way I was trained as a kid. More good for you. Anyway, this story has to do with Mormons, so I kind of weave that in there. It also has to do with hunting. I used to love hunting. I was addicted to hunting. It drove my life. I drove my dad's camper truck down to the high school in the morning. My double-barrel shotgun in the little closet in the corner, door locked, of course. As soon as that bell rang, I was in that truck on my way down the highway out to the nearest marsh. I spent it till dark hunting ducks and taking those beautiful little teal out of the air. Oh, I'll tell you, there's nothing like a beautiful little blue-winged drake, except maybe a beautiful mallard. Oh boy, the light hits those iridescent feathers, brings you to life. I think that's what I loved about it, was to hold beauty into my hands, to possess the beauty. That's what we all want to do. We want to have beauty because, beauty is truth. Fortunately for me, I guess, I learned that you don't have to hold beauty in your hands to possess it. You can hold it in your eyes, and that'll bring it into your heart and mind. So I've pretty much given up hunting with a gun, but I still hunt with my eyes. There was, however, back in my youth, a gentleman a little older than me who was a great hunter. He loved to hunt. He hunted every day. My brother's brother, Steve, he explained it to me, and I'm sure this fellow knew that Sunday is the best day to hunt because the devil shoos all the game in your direction, he'd say. And I did hunt on Sunday, though my parents discouraged it, but this old boy, he hunted every day, and he wasn't discouraged until, being a good man, the call came in if he would want to be the bishop of this Mormon ward. The bishop is the head of the community organization in the Mormon church. Well, he accepted the call, and he forsook the sin of hunting on Sunday, and things went over well. He thought particularly well because not long after he was given a blessing, a great treasure. Once in a lifetime grizzly bear permit up in Montana. Yeah, that'll date this story. Well, he couldn't wait to get there. He arrived early Monday morning. Traveling on Sunday night for hunting is permissible under certain circumstances. And he was out in the forest all that beautiful day, and the next, and the next, and the next. And Saturday night rolls round. Sun goes down, darkness settles. He hadn't seen a bear. He hadn't seen hide nor hair. He hadn't seen a footprint. He'd seen nothing. He was discouraged, and he was at a difficult place. One day, and that permit would be useless for the rest of his life. He'd have no chance. He did some praying. He did some thinking. He decided this was his miracle. And that next morning, crack of dawn, he was out, headed up the hill. He hadn't been out half an hour, and there it was, coming down off the ridge, the biggest grizzly bear he'd ever seen in his entire life. It was ripping open logs and eating whatever it might find in there, It's always amazed me that giant animal can live on those little teeny worms he gets out of a rotten log, but I guess in the wild you eat what you find. Well, our bishop was ready. He put home that first round in that rifle chamber and lined up on that grizzly bear and squeezed the trigger. Click. Nothing. Nothing else to do. He pulled out that round, put in the next. Click. Nothing. Click. Nothing. He went through 7 rounds. This had got the bear's attention. He'd stood up and looked. He saw where the noise was coming from. He was bounding down the hill. 8th round, last one. Click. He swung that rifle around his head, threw it at the bear, took off running down the hill. They tell you, running from a grizzly bear, you ought to go downhill. Their back legs being so much longer than their front tends to impede their progress. But this bear was a-coming. That bishop was a-running, and he was a-praying. He was a repentant. If you let me out of this, I promise I'll never do it again. I'll promise. He hit the creek at the bottom of that trail, running across, slowed him down right at that minute, just as he got to the deep water. That bear's on top of him, pushes him down underwater all the way. But I want you to know, before he bit his head off, that bear looked up to heaven and said, "And I thank you for this food for which I'm about to partake." No, this is true.